What's up, podcast community? My name is Cam King. This is Three Questions Podcast. Today, I have one of my great friends, Dan from Denver. Dan, what's up? Why don't you say a little intro?
What up, Cam? Thank you so much for having me. I've been following the pod, was a client of yours, and it's just cool to be here seeing you talked about it, back when we were coaching, and now it's happening. You're almost 50 episodes in. You got to do something special, right, for 50.
No, nothing special. We're gonna keep powering through. I appreciate that. I do remember asking you, being like, "Hey, if I started a podcast, would you listen to it?" And I hate asking clients for feedback that way, but you and I had been working together for so long at that point that it felt very natural. So, um, we've both met not even when we lived in Colorado together. I think I had already moved past that point. So it's very funny when I came back and we had breakfast real quick after that really intense workout with your fiance.
Hmm.
That was a good time. So when's the wedding? I meant to ask.
Wedding next September, not this September, but whole year out. We got a lot of planning to do, so
It'll go
it's
by fast, I'm sure.
it's already begun.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God.
yeah.
Well, cool. Let's hop right into it. As you know, new listeners, old listeners, Three Questions Podcast is simply three questions based upon what the guests and I talk about or user submitted. You can submit questions at ckcollective.co and you'll find the podcast tab on the upper right. Submit questions there, find all the different listings that we have, and sign up to be a guest there as well. I love getting guests on because they share a very unique perspective that I don't have. Whenever I Google a question or it's something that I've thought about in the past or looked up or learned, I will put that into my question bank. And when I have guests on, it allows me to actually interview them and assess their expertise and have them share that with a wider community. So very, very interesting. I created a whole separate Three Questions Podcast YouTube channel. It was on my CK Collective channel. Now they're separated, and eventually I'll make a Three Questions Podcast website only. So, Dan, thanks for being my guest. I would love to have you on again in the future. Are you ready to hop into the questions?
Let's get it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to set my watch. And question number one: what made you decide to be an entrepreneur?
What got me into entrepreneurship? I think it's always been a part of me since I was a kid. That sounds corny, probably, but um, I just didn't know it until I kind of became an adult. So when I was a kid, I was really into video, creating videos when YouTube was first a thing back in whenever it was 2000, early 2010s, is when I really was like, started seeing people like Smosh and like, I don't know if you know Smosh, like sketch comedy, stuff like that out there. And I just realized people were doing creative things, doing what they wanted, and and making a living out of it. So I think that's always been inside of me in some capacity. I just didn't know how to make it happen. So as I got older, after I graduated college, and figured out, oh, like a degree doesn't guarantee that you get a job or that get the experience you need. You got to go and find it sometimes. So I did end up getting a full-time job at some point after I moved out here and to Denver. That was in 2017. And after a while, it was just like, not for me. I went to um, just experimenting with doing stuff for free for people, um, and just having fun with it too, learning on the fly, and that's really how I got into it. So I I knew from, like I said, from a young age that um it was kind of built into me, and as I grew older, I was able to express that a lot more in professional settings with other businesses, with I kind of dove into certain niches, like I'm currently working in the real estate niche here in Denver, which is just popping. Um, and yeah, after a while, it just um, you start learning about kind of where your place is, the more and more you do that thing over and over. it took me a while to, I still sometimes think like, oh, I could be doing something a little differently, and that's okay, like, um, so yeah, I guess just after however long I've been doing it, like 6 years, I think. Um, I've been doing video production for businesses, for real estate agents, for coaches like yourself. And after a while, yeah, just kind of figured that was the thing. And I've been able to hone in on it and continue growing it to a point um, where I feel a lot more established now in Denver specifically. And yeah, it's just really cool to see the growth of going from doing stuff for free at like $250 a video to selling, $1 to $5,000 projects. So yeah, I think it's something, back to the beginning of your question, is something that started, it was already in me in some capacity, and I've just learned to um, figure out how to make it work for me.
Well, I think that's really bold. I think every entrepreneur has always had a really uh scratch part of them to just go off and break it off into their own, especially when they're working for somebody that they don't really like or respect, or you kind of get this thing to say, I can I can do this better. I can do this on my own, or I don't have to take this, right? And I think that when you understand that the sky's the limit, that's when people really start to take off. So good on you. I know you're doing big things, and we got rid of that nice guy syndrome for a long time, and now you're out there chomping at the bit, which is good to see. So
I'm trying. He's still
yeah, it
still in here. He's still in here a little bit. I'm still working on it, but
yeah.
which might be a good
So,
segue to the
might
next.
be might be a good segue for sure. So I'll ask you this question number two is the biggest challenge you've faced both personally and professionally.
Yeah, I think this is something I've been working on a lot recently, is consistency and execution. And this is stuff you and I worked on back in the day. Um, just getting one, doing what you have to do every single day, and realizing that I can't just do a few things in a short period of time and go, go, go. I have to do a lot of things over a long period of time, that's at a pace that's sustainable, and just have that mindset that not everything's going to happen and when you want it to, like you just have to commit to the thing, do the thing for as long as you need to do that thing. And sometimes you might not see the results for a while. Um, but you're smiling because you're like, yes, Dan.
Well, I'm smiling because you're that conundrum for you is something that so many people share, right? Being consistent, finding routine, having discipline, and it doesn't ever end. And you know me, right? I love to push the envelope. I love to work hard. I love all of this effort, but it drains me so much that I don't even see the gas tank going to E. And right now I'm laughing because I'm looking at my to-do list that I hang above my computer. Right now I have 4 sheets, and there's like various things checked off on all of them. And just I've realized lately my biggest thing is that your focus is a superpower. So when it comes to motivation, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to routine, all these things, you don't innately have these things, right? But they are finite resources when they show up. So even if you have all the motivation or all the discipline or all the focus, these things tend to evaporate the wider that we sort of point our laser. But if we can narrow it to one thing at a time, right? If we just work sequentially down that and we give 90 or 100% of our focus to that first thing and then to that second thing, I can't do that right now. Okay, I'm going to move to the third thing. We would get so much done, but instead we're always on the hamster wheel. So
Yes.
I feel your pain.
I 100%. And I'm one of those millennials that has succumbed to this, like, this social media millionaire mindset, like, well, this person did it in 30 days or 60 days, or yeah, that's probably pretty extreme, but 3 to 6 months, I made this much money or whatever it was because I did this thing and I followed this program, and you should too. Here, you should buy it for $500. It's so attractive, and especially for me, someone that's got ADHD diagnosed as an adult, like, I'm sure a lot of people maybe can relate to this, but the maybe a lot of millennials, yeah, specifically with ADHD, just there's a lot of distraction out there, and it can be really hard to filter what is good from what is not. And I think the thing to take away from social media is there's so much good information out there. It's just like following that tune of just picking something that you can do and just start doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The what is it? Option paralysis. I forget the term. There's
Analysis
a
paralysis.
analysis paralysis. There we go. Holy cow. Right. Even the types of projects and courses and mentors thing that I'm involved in, I am like, this is too much, man. You should have just kept your focus. I have that issue. Everyone has that issue. You're saying you have that issue, and it's presented to us, right? Back in the day, people, I think the number was like we were blasted by 300 ads a day, and that was insane. That was when I was in like high school, and now it's way more than that. Way
Right.
more than that. Your attention is what people and companies and engineers are vying for. And where you place your attention and your focus, that's what grows. And I think if you have that diffused awareness where you're trying to pay attention and do everything, you get nothing done. So it boils down to focus. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Um, question number 3 parlays right into question number 2.
Hmm.
So when you are doing so much as an entrepreneur, wearing so many different hats, doing so many different things from task to task to task, like you have been today, you told me. How do you find balance within all of this?
It can be hard, but it is completely essential that you just set the time aside. And it has to be done ahead of time. Like, there was a couple weeks ago, uh I missed a scheduling I had a scheduling error when I was trying to um me and Maddie are doing therapy right now. So, and it's been awesome. And if we miss a week, we can really kind of feel it between us. We're getting married in a year, so we got some work to do. And so I just didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't have it written down. She did. And so, like, the day or two before, I'm trying to frantically move things around with some clients, trying to figure out with the therapist if we can move it back or front. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, it was just it sucked so much out of me mentally to have to deal with. Maddie was upset with me. I'm letting down some clients if I'm moving things around. I let down the therapist who, we scheduled this out like 2 weeks ago, and now I'm trying to move something around the week of. So I think how I do it is I've had to be really diligent about this. Um, not in that instance, but is schedule things the moment that you're going to have to schedule something. So if someone pings you with a text and they're like, hey, when can we get this thing handled? Like, sometimes it might take you out of that. So, like, if I've got a text, I won't read it. I'll just, like, I'm doing something right now. I'll get to that later. But when you get to it, you schedule that shit. So I think that has helped me a lot of just, like, schedule your stuff, have it um have it planned ahead of time, as far ahead as you need to. And everything else will fall into place. People will work around the schedule that you set for yourself. That's another part that I love about being an entrepreneur, is setting my own schedule. Once it's set, that's how it's built. It's built based on what I want it to be.
Totally. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you teach people how to treat you with how you treat yourself. And this is where balance comes in, because balance for me doesn't necessarily mean working so hard and then going out and getting hammered tomorrow, and Sunday I'll find some sort of balance amidst my hangover. That's not balance for me anymore. And I didn't have this concept in my 20s when I was doing that stuff. However, the biggest thing I've learned over the past couple of years is I find balance when I've stopped people pleasing. And I don't know if you want to comment on this, but for me, when I've stopped caring what other people think, and I've stopped, caring if they're emotionally perturbed, we'll say, right? Hurting someone is definitely different with your actions, and you shouldn't do that.
Wow.
However, people are going to be upset no matter what you do, no matter how far you go. And me overextending myself, trying to people please, I found was not bringing me any sort of balance, and was taking me off my tough. It was making me follow in the paths of others that made me even more uncomfortable and brought me more anxiety about the situation, because I was getting further away from my goals or my mission or my purpose or my to-do for that day. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, how maybe that's impacted your life as well.
100%. That was something I also struggled with back when we were coaching. And I think that was something you definitely helped me get through, was you got to think of yourself first. The whole, I think you've even said this, the analogy about the airplane, put the mask on yourself before you put it on others. Because
it's so true.
Yeah, truly, like you can't help anyone else if you don't help yourself first. So yeah, 100%. I've started to focus on me as much as I can, and my development, my purpose. And the more I'm able to start figuring those things out, the easier it is to find the balance and give myself more to Maddie, to my friends, to, what life is all about, like having fun and experiencing things. So yeah, definitely people pleasing, throw it aside until you can take care of yourself, I would say.
Yeah, dude, it's who's the new coach of the Buffs out there in Boulder now? Oh my God, I'm spacing his name.
Zero idea. I don't
Uh,
watch sport ball.
God dang. He's
Except
super
soccer.
famous, and I just thought of his name and I just had a brain fart. But he just put out a speech about how other people are judging him and how he takes care of his players and how they're doing well. And he's like, why would I give a darn about you, what you think of me? You ain't me. You've never done what I've done. You've never, he's like, your opinion of me doesn't matter. It's a moot point. And I'm paraphrasing and I'm butchering it, but it's such a great speech. And he just says darn over and over and over again. I forget. He's super famous. He was on ESPN for the longest time. But
Amazing.
anyway, I'm gonna put that speech out. I'll send it to you. And there's so many good points from our coaching, and it's so amazing to see you just take off, and you're crushing business now, and you're getting married, and you're making all of these leaps and bounds from when I first met you, which is what I love to see. Like it's amazing. So why don't you tell people what it is that you're doing now, how to best reach you, and anything else you want to say?
Oh yeah. Well, thanks Cam for having me on, dude. This has been really good. Yeah, what I'm doing right now, a lot of shit, honestly. All over the place. I so primarily I've been involved in my real estate media business, Just Pended Denver. If you're a real estate agent and you need listing photos, videos, and of course branded video content for your social media channel, we do that. And then aside, if you're not an agent, if you're a business owner, if you're a creator, if you're an influencer and someone that's looking to grow their social media channel, get more leads and business through social media, I create video content for you to help you grow and get out there. So yeah, that is kind of the the main thing that I do. My Instagram channel is the Dan McVey. So it's the period Dan period McVey, McVey. And that's where I'll post a majority of my work. And yeah, so that's kind of the stuff I'm working on.
Dan, thanks for hopping on, man. I remember you talking about wanting to do your creative projects as well. And I have seen a few of those on your social media and they're hilarious. So very good to see you exercising that muscle. And I hope you continue to grow and experience success. And best of luck to you out there. I hope we get to cross paths again soon. I'll let you know if I ever make it out that way. I was out that way a couple weeks ago, but it was very, very packed wedding out in Aspen. And we drove like right back to the airport. So,
Damn.
so sorry I miss you, man. But I know we'll catch up. I know we'll stay in touch. And send me your bio, any information you want to go on the bottom of the podcast. And we'll see everybody else in episode 49. Thanks for listening. 3 Questions Podcast can be found on ckcollective.co and on Instagram @_3 Questions Podcast. And on TikTok, I think it's just @3 Questions Podcast. It might also be @_3 Questions Podcast. I just made that earlier today. So I'll follow up about it. I'll post all the links down below and see you guys in the next one.